trouble. So it's 6, 7, 8, 9.
Marilyn's out in front of the camper thing here, doing her nails. Because
11.
That's what you do in Alaska. Beautiful scenery.
Points. That's one of my highest.
Requires beautiful nails. And on top of that, we got this. Well, get some letters so we can see what you get, Marilyn. Yeah, what can I do that to you?
Hey, here we are. Out the pretty glacier up there. But with all the scenery, what are we doing? What are we doing, George?
Playing Scrabble. Well, what do you think? We're stupid looking out the window? Not us.
We didn't come to Alaska to look out the window. We came to Alaska to play Scrabble.
And shake our...
I got a heroin on the woman's head ahead of her. Her head's a little bit loose on her,
well,
whatever ties it onto her body.
Probably rather relaxed. She has every reason to be relaxed. We get
Oh, sure. Let me get it.
The Alaska Railroad sign.
I can't get the glacier from
Tunnel top, Alaska Railroad.
Am I in your way out?
Place, really.
Like the 7 tunnels of New Pennsylvania.
What name of the lake is this?
Summit Lake.
Summit Lake.
On the way to Fairbanks.
On the way to Fairbanks. We'll get down a little bit. We'll look up to the clouds and then
you get the glacier.
Over.
When you get the glacier now, up in there. Look at those.
There's a glacier. Probably from Whittier. They just walk along the tracks. People throw money at them.
Now the next time you open that, I'll put this back in.
George, is this trash here?
Oh.
What's your can of RC Cola?
If it's empty, it's trash. Here, have some more.
It doesn't feel quite empty, but it's evening, right? Okay, I just felt some RC.
It's empty.
Yeah, empty? It's not nothing for our feet. There's a big trash bag back there.
Oh, there's the ferry.
We have a trash bag right now.
There's 2 different ships there.
I don't see the other ship, but I'm leaving. Oh, I see. I see the different nose on a different ship.
We're leaving on the ferry from Whittier. Who's smoking?
Top of the chimney.
I think they just always have it going to keep stuff going inside. we're leaving Whittier.
Happy Princess Cruise to you too.
I'm gonna walk forward, Marilyn, okay?
You want to scoot?
The waterfalls are pretty too.
Yeah, can I get in there and take a picture?
And I won't pull right next to it.
Yeah, see some little different colors in the water.
Floating in the water. But I don't think they will.
See the back of the water?
I think they're done.
Let's go on the ferry. Disneyland is aware of what's going on. But over here, Alan's sound asleep and doesn't care.
See some float planes out there, so we'll just kind of focus out that way and see if we can get to them. You see anything out there? I'm trying to focus my camera. Oh. Okay, look around. There's what looks like a float plane. We're going along. We're getting pretty close to the Columbia Glacier. This all looked like a swarm of float planes.
Is that what they are?
Yeah.
I know there's another one out there. I just can't. Oh, why don't you hit against me, Lavina, so I can get knocked around?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Where's the rest of them? It's not that we can't see. It's just that we can't see. There's another one. They're just swarming out there. We don't know why. Hope you can see better.
We'll be back, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
There must be some town or something down that way. Pointing out something. There's that guy walking around too. Well. Up there than it is down here. She doesn't know it. Wild and wind blown. Lick those lips.
Hey, get out of it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Now rain right here.
There's a couple of sea otters over on the right or starboard at about 2 o'clock, taking the front of the deadly ship at south this way.
Can you see him good in that?
No.
There's another one up there to the left.
I keep blanking out of focus in the water.
They always swim on their back. It's not going to come out where
See there, he went down and came back
Just see
up.
that and you'll know what it is.
There. He's getting the video too.
We are in the video, aren't we?
We're in the video.
I don't think we focus on us and it too.
Doesn't matter. We can be out of
Here,
focus.
Marilyn.
We'll know who we are.
And you're cracking and grinding.
No.
We're only 3-4 miles away from it.
There's another field test directly ahead this moment. Directly ahead.
Oh, yeah, walking along.
See, Otter?
He'd been with us in line and we've been talking a lot to him. And then when we went in, there were no tables for two, so we sat at a table. And then they needed a table, we said sit with us. I would like to see a puffin. I don't know if there's any puffins around here. I don't think so. You think not? No, it doesn't look like that. Well, we wait until he gets up close by and then see.
Is that a seal, Marilyn? Can you tell?
All I'm just blurring so much, it doesn't really like focusing on water.
I'm getting a lot of pictures of it. What is it, Alan?
Can't see a darn thing.
That's a boy.
Looks like a cute little birdhouse. Terminus of the Alaskan pipeline, which they just told us all about. Pretty exciting. Oil goes through it at 7 miles an hour.
There is a long cut road just going to the left of Marilyn. Going on 4 Now, it's very difficult to see, but the piping that's closest to the bus here on the right-hand side in a zigzag formation, and then it runs parallel with this walkway in front of us, is the actual crude oil line for berth 1. You'll notice the 2-story green building in the center of the berth. When a tanker's in like this, that's who's in charge. That's the berth operator, and they oversee all the loading and the ballasting. They keep in constant radio contact with the tanker as well as the operation control center. If by chance an emergency should occur, they can shut down any one of those loading arms in 4.5 seconds. But they are the ones who are in charge once a tanker's in. And back to those loading arms. This is our smallest berth. Those are very close. Then you notice the lines, how they take them out to the moorings. These are called our dolphin moorings, and this is how they attach it. And then you'll notice some black snake-like material in the water. This is containment foam. And it's a rubber curtain that hangs about 4 feet below the water surface. And we encircle every tanker when they come in. The reason for this is if there's any discharge or spill from this area, it's contained in there. Much easier for us to retrieve. One thing you might find interesting is up in Prudhoe Bay when that oil is being produced, it comes up out of the ground under natural pressure and heat. So when it comes out about 180 degrees. And we can't put it into the pipeline until it's about 140. So the way they cool it is they start bringing in those 1,174 different wells, those lines, into gathering stations. And at the gathering stations, they knock off a lot of the excess water and sediment that automatically cools it. put it in and pump one, we start pumping them on down the line. Now it takes about 5.5 days for it to get here at a rate of about 7 miles an hour. So when we load it into these tankers, it's maybe 115 degrees. But this is what I find interesting, is when we're producing it, we're counting it by turbometers and computers, every barrel that's being produced. And we count it with every pump station coming down, and we count it again before it's loaded up on these tankers. But before this vessel leaves, we have a third independent gauging party board that vessel, hand dip, and measure the tanker, because it's far more accurate to hand dip a tank of oil. And if there's a discrepancy, the oil company's handing it out. And that just cracks me up with all this high-tech stuff. Hand dip is the way to go. So they'll be dipped before they leave. And one other thing is, why we were chosen to be the terminus for the pipeline, we threw another pipeline and fill up tankers waiting on the outside side to distribute to the eastern side. But what we're looking at here is our biological treatment plants, but they're the last stage of the ballast water treatment. So what I want you to do is look up here on the left-hand side of the bus. You'll see 3 large green holding tanks. So what happens is when the tanker... And it is comforting to know that we do have the most oil response equipment in the world and personnel to manage. And an hour before these tankers leave, the fire water pump house building. And if we should have a tank farm fire, we'd start pumping up seawater at a rate of about 18,000 gallons per minute here to cool the outside of the tank. But we use foam to extinguish any crude oil fire. Each berth has their own fire. When you see it above ground when you're driving along the road, it looks a little bit larger. I think that one of the reasons for that is it's on the vertical support members, but it has a little bit more insulation around it, sometimes 4 to 6 inches of insulation. This, again, is another fixed berth, and this can accommodate our largest tankers up to 270,000 deadweight tons. And it's not that we couldn't accommodate larger than that, it's the port of call where they're going to. They want no more than 2 million barrels coming into them. Lay it on top of this thing so the blank on the wrapper work saying what day and time exactly it would be in place. Betty lost $5, but somebody won over $50,000. She said by the end of the construction period, a lot of people were bored, there wasn't much to do, and they bet on lots of things.
Das Tankens.
I see. If they break open, it covers it. The walls will take care of everything but 10%.
No, it'll take care of everything plus 10%.
Ah. You narrating properly, Ellen?
No.
You talk about the dikes and stuff?
Yeah.
You still want
And a little battery sign comes on.
Yeah, I figured it was about time for the battery.
That was how far it slid on those Teflon shoes.
I'm sure now they stopped.
And if you notice on the right-hand side of the bus, the green path area, that's where the line is coming in below ground, and it averages about 8 feet there. When you see the pipeline on the vertical support members with the fence on top, what you're seeing is in those
Snow markers, they whack it with a snowplow.
These T's that lost one half, the right half of their top. Yes, are markers for by the side of the road. On the highway, on the way from Valdez up to
The reflectors mean
Fairbanks.
that means there's a drop off, so don't jump over the hill.
Okay. There you go. Thank you. It's Susan, you got to take it off record. Miles north of Valdez, heading towards Fairbanks. There's a pump station of the lesson. pipeline along the way. Not really thrilling, but we knew you wanted to see it.
Now, not very many.
Like that.
We'll make everybody ill.
70 miles.
We got about 300 to go.
In other
Maybe
words,
not the best stretch
shut
of
up
road in
and hunker
Alaska.
down here.
Oh,
70 miles?
there's going to be a pipeline out there if we look closely
Less than
enough.
100.
See them zero in out there. Really bad
Trans-Alaska
shit.
Pipeline follows base of mountains across valley. I found it. Milepost 70.5.
See that pipeline?
At milepost 71.2, long double-ended pavement turned out to the east. There's lots of things to read about.
Oh
When
my
does this
God.
turn into a gravel road?
Oh, sorry, people. It doesn't matter what this thing says. It's just a test of whether or not we can read these things. I'm sorry about that. Hang on a second.
Tax revenue.
We should do this sometime when the thing's not bouncing.
That is the 10-year average. Commercial fishing, 21%. Other contributed 13%.
Anyway, it's not that bad. There's a lot of flashing here on this end.
Lavina, why don't
Just
you
stop
just go
it.
on home with us?
Maybe hold against the wall.
Sure, yeah.
Well, you know, we can have fun.
Well, you're not going to leave me in the airport in Anchorage.
Oh well. Let's get it on record now here, don't we? These things really happen. That always happens. The mountains.
You can talk to me for free. Oh, man, it looks horrible. George is filming.
A storm.
We think that these trees look something like halfway between what? Cactus and a pipe cleaner and an evergreen. You're going into
There's the sun out there, but it's kind of dark up ahead.
real dark.
Side out there. We're not getting real good pictures of the trees now.
We may not live,
We're bouncing around.
but
and
we're all
stuff.
listening to the newspaper.
Maybe we can just read over her shoulder. There we go.
There's some serious weather ahead.
Was that thunder we just heard?
just wanted to
Rough
know.
road, it says. Can you believe it?
Looks like you need it. It's just the IFR.
Glad I'm not watching this on TV, I'll tell you.
We are going to find something.
We'll get some pictures of the lightning there pretty
May
soon.
come out in the sunshine.
We have a lightning rod on this truck.
Oh, it says end. Oh, sorry about that. It's going to get better as we go along. It's a basic
Off the truck, turn it on.
bouncing glacier thing. How to focus bouncing glacier.
Now it's speeding up.
Drive right by this.
Early today, afternoon. This was her afternoon off.
Nobody can win.
Well, our side certainly couldn't without her.
So the permafrost freezers?
I mean, they've all got some.
Ah, Alan, I'm taking a picture.
Hold on.
Hot rod. Great.
We have the Great Alaskan Pipeline. Complete with connections, curves, insulation, expansion joints. We've got things here for permafrost, I guess it says. The ground's frozen. These things here go down to keep the ground frozen around the pilings so it doesn't get mushy. Strange brew.
Those are patches in the insulation. Ravina's
I'll bring the camera over here so we can take a picture of you touching the pipeline, okay? This is orange corning fiberglass. Bring the camera down here, Marilyn. dirt.
Maybe they could get arrested for doing this.
Take a picture of us touching the pipeline, Marilyn.
I am.
No, with our camera.
Oh. You know, you don't do that. You're vandalizing
You
the
put this dents in
Trans-Alaska
the pipe. Don't
pipeline.
throw rocks at it.
This is recorded on video, and you'll be another.
I wouldn't do that. That's all the dents are.
You're gonna raise your oil bills.
I gotta go down here to find a rock or a picture mountain.
Looks like it had Marilyn in your way. Maybe. Look out the top of the right hand side. Look at that yellowish, orangish stones up there.
Oh.
Their shape is obviously pretty fine rock and stuff. That's volcanic.
The beaver house is just a pile of shit.
Well, no, we're past. There we are.
2, 3. Okay, go.
Here we have the pipeline doing its
We're 120 miles south of Fairbanks.
And we're running out of
car is
gas.
running out of
4
gas.
feet diameter, 9
We
miles
haven't
an
seen a
hour.
gas station in ages.
There's a car.
Oh, what's all those little things?
This is from the frost.
I'm out of. I got out of focus right there.
That's because you weren't looking through it.
We'll swing around forward and they can go out that way.
Yeah.
There's bison range, supposed to be 300 out there someplace. There's 2 little pine trees.
Is Kevin Costner out there?
You can see over the camper.
See over the camper? Pretty long and pretty straight.
Only we got enough gas to get to the other
Why don't
end.
we pass the camper and give her a good view?
I'll give her a quick throw.
Give her a big trail, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get ready to show the Allen Pass because he doesn't like George passes.
Yeah, get over there, camper. This is a wide enough road to play games. There you go.
Man, that's probably enough then if the battery.
I'm trying to read the sign. This is pretty exciting, everybody.
Okay.
It looks like a gravel pit in Connecticut. Okay, Alan has us at the gold panning pit. George, you want to narrate?
Yeah, there's a dredge.
There's Lavina's head. If Lavina's head wasn't there, you could see people panning for gold.
Where? Over
Down in the
there.
gold field.
Lavina, scoot down a little bit.
Oh, it's not my name to me.
Oh, Dale, I'm sorry. Pretty exciting. Digging for gold. Let's get a very attractive pose out of her.
We gotta get left in the trail here.
Well, Lavina, explain what you're doing.
I'm playing in the water. Did you find anything?
Hurry up, guys. The camera's going.
Did you expect to find anything?
What are we supposed to do?
I don't know, but where's the clean water?
Come over on this side so Marilyn can get pictures of it. So you're in the light.
vigorous works into here someplace.
Ah, it's rocking. No, we'll continue on and find something more exciting to do than this.
They're not scumming,
The map with gold too, hopefully. Got brought in from those buckets outside. We'd come get into this trommel, and this whole cylinder would spin around. And if you look over here, this area is going to blow towards the top. You can see a big water pipe with water nozzles attached. And that would spray all them up with water and operate them one at a time. And by the time you got down to about the 38th water cannon, the ground by the first one you had operated would have been thought out enough you could blast it back a couple more inches and start over again. And it could take up to 3 seasons just to blast back enough dirt to start dredging at all. So that's part of why it was such a slow, arduous process out here.
going away from his watches there. Now look at it. He's not even in the gravel. He's on that grass. He has his tail up. He's accelerating down. Look at that. He's off the ground. Boy, that took about 150 or 200 feet is all. It didn't take him long at all to get off the ground. Look at how quickly he's climbing too. Climbing right up. This guy gaining altitude very quickly. He's out directly ahead of us now. He'll be swinging around to our right. You can see him on the video.
For Alan, we don't really care about an airplane landing.
Moving sideways, slowing it down. He has the large flaps extended. He has to avoid that pickup truck there at the end, so he's landing kind of long. Boy, look at that. Drop that right in there. Right off the top because of the shape. That was great. Thank you, Bill. Good job. That was Bill Johnson. Thank you, Bill. Good way.
They put a nest in a big old dead stub above it. Yeah, with a big horizontal branch. Their nest probably 5 or 6 feet in that road. They start out 5 or 6 feet, and they may be 10 feet in diameter. Very big.
Take the salmon out of the fish bowl. Take them back up to the fish camp is where they would process the salmon. They would cut the salmon up so that they could dry it and smoke it, preserve the salmon. See that block in there? All right there. We're sitting on the bed. This is very typical. This is what we hundreds of these as families this spring load their supplies of material in their small boats. Go out to a traditional site like set up their summer fishing camp, put their fish wheels in, and catch the migrating salmon. They would put up literally thousands of those so that they would preserve them and use them for food. This is Dixie Alexander and Michael. Hi, Dixie. Hi, Michael.
That's right next to the window.
Dixie is scraping on a caribou leg in there. She's scraping that down.
Dogs for a run in the winter time. Yes, but thank you for giving me a good reason to take you for a run on a summer afternoon. The best way I could really show you what's so wonderful about dog sledding would be to meet you out on the snowy trail and find a nice big warm carpet for you. I'd put you in the basket of the sled. I'd stand on the runners and back, and we both hang on for dear life.
For 8 summers, so I think they're pretty used to people.
8 summers of this.
Done.
The black one of my lead dog just turned 11 in July. Black one and Schnitzel, the one behind the house.
Which one watering?
In the picture. The boat, riverboat. Take a look at the current out there.
Well, it's looking right into the sun. You
There's
can't
stuff going by. You can get that. I'll hold my hand over the camera for you. Get their stuff. Get that route going by. What do we estimate? About a 5-knot current?
Yes.
Animals, and 1 kill would provide them everything they needed to survive. They'd use the meat as an abundant source of food. They'd use the bones for tools and weapons. They'd also use the hides for clothing and shelter. To kill these large animals with, the men would use primitive spears such as this one. There was a spruce pole tipped to the shin bone, but they would do it this as they planted in the ground at a 45-degree angle, and they would provoke a moose to charge towards him. That way it would impale its chest or its belly right on the tip of this spear, and that hunter would have to quickly and skillfully roll up from underneath it before it squished him. They're watching their mothers and their grandmothers, and that's how Dixie learned, by watching her mother sew clothing for her large family of 6 brothers and 6 sisters. She's all... Do I look Eskimo now? Does anybody want to rub noses? You're steamed and bent birchwood, and on the outside is birch bark, which is sewn onto it with split spruce roots. move on to our next stop, and we'll show you what types of shelters the Athabascans lived in after the Westerners began trading furs for such items. So once they received the saw and the axe, they started to build permanent cabins, such as this large one to your left. Now the materials for this cabin were found right off the land of where it sits. They did as they...
No, George. You want to tell us what a good time you're having?
Oh, I love being a tourist. Okay, this is just an experiment to see if we can read this stuff. Somebody might have a reason to do this. I'll see if I can brace myself. There.
Adrian never has bad hair days. Lisa hasn't a lot.
Doesn't matter much what it says, does it?
Well, Adrian had bad
I'll find something else to look at, if you really care. Here's a book on the wall. Check it out. Alaska, a pictorial history.
I love these.
There, listen. Glare. There's a caption of some sort. We'll try to read that. Glare.
She was fine, so he thought I think she had. Look at her.
Glare City.
Is that supposed to be funny? Well, it's really funny. It goes straight.
Is that in focus to you? I can't see it.
Look at Tony Talk.
Too much.
I should have gone for a hike or something.
It's an amazing machine, isn't it?
See the bean suit.
George, we don't need those pictures.
Oh, great. I was talking on camera about Tony Talk.
To the car. And this is the house we stayed in last two nights. In Fairbanks. And someplace out there is Mount McKinley. Got the flatland south, looking south, into Fairbanks, and beyond into all the swampland. Check it where cars are parked.
907. Shit, now I gotta find out something that says you are here. It's near the totem pole.
Now I'm trying to figure out where we're going.
It's not on the main campus.
And there was a light in the ceiling there, and then there was that light up the lamp. Very hard to focus on. You must have. Because the lamp was sitting on the cooler yet. That's why we didn't take the cooler yesterday.
Here we are at Mount McKinley.
About 10 miles in.
Talk.
10 miles into Denali National Park.
Keep talking.
Stuff's going by. And we think we see Mount McKinley in the distance. And Alan will zoom in when he gets to there.
Or one of its children.
Just to the left, straight down before you get down to the Black Ridge line.
July 21st, 1992.
This mountain comes down like this. Yeah. This route before
It's a pain that it keeps
come down there.
And George is trying to tell me where to look.
The horizon line. There's a black mountain.
It's probably not.
I don't know if we saw it yet.
And all I can see is...
Well, you look like you're aiming in the wrong direction.
I can't really see that it's a mountain, but...
Well, I see more clouds when I got this than I see without it.
I thought we saw the mountain before. I can't see it now.
We do. Look at the highest peak to the left and go over half an inch.
Oh, that peak.
You're way over to the right.
I missed it.
Well, I'm trying to translate
How do I find those twin peaks?
You want me to do it?
I'm looking at that tree right there. And I swing over to that peak right there. And just beyond that peak...
The problem is with the camera, it's in black and white when you're looking through it, you can't see it. You got it?
I had turned it till I thought I was
That's
seeing
got to be McKinley.
Did you zoom in?
Oh yeah, I zoomed in. I'm just trying to get him shaking all around. Where's Lavina?
She's way to the right.
There's Lavina. Hi, oh Lavina.
You should
think like
the ones on the other side were just for women, and they were much cleaner.
I didn't want to go in there, but she said those are for coming this way.
This is what a vacation is like. Climbing and porta potties.
You had to smack your brother with a pool. Oh.
Sorry, people. Not exactly Yellowstone, but it's still hard. Pretty nice kind of a view. They're headed down to the porta potty. Anything else to see around here? I'll just move my head around while you guys look through this thing. Back up to Alan and Susan. They're taking pictures of each other, right there.
Of our way out of Denali. Oops, my thing's flopping, making noise. And way back there are some really pretty peaks. They're doing a car. It's hard to hold this level with all the wind, too.
This is your basic, typical view.
I look in the window, something like flash.
Then you go put air in George's face and you
It's alright, air's good.
can't see anything.
Oh, wow, I'm blown away by air.
Driving it full over.
No, and the view.
Not instructed.
What else do you want to see? Oh, the whole car ahead of us. Do that. The wire?
Yes?
I just thought I'd say your name.
When we get our gear?
Wouldn't smell on this bed, you damn right you couldn't.
Yes, she's on it.
How much is your shoe sister? Oh, pretty big.
Well, we're laying 6. We're laying 6.
Getting your equipment for a raft tour here at Denali. You can tell they're happy. This is the rest of the crew taking the voyage.
I hope so.
You can see it's kind of a motley bunch.
What's your shirt there?
They're putting their clothes on. Mom here looking ready to watch. There's the river. There were some kayaks on by here not that long ago. Can't see anything here. It just looks like mud now, doesn't it?
How are we going to walk up the mountain?
Maybe they're down the river someplace. Then you can see them. Yeah. Right. Look at the kayakers now. I can't see them. Maybe you can see them. People are bouncing.
Don't have the shoes at the end of the
They'll be launching pretty soon. I'll take another picture.
Go ahead, Dad.
Susan's afraid she'll lose it here.
There's boats down there. Probably some glare. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm recording here. There goes the Space Cadets down to the launcher. Focus for myself. We'll just follow our way down over there and see where they're off to. You know how walking with one of these things is, doesn't work. But it's fun to get the cadets. There they are. Cadetsters. Anybody we know down there? Everybody will just wave this. We don't care. I'll take pictures of anybody. Oh, I care. back ourselves right out of here and walk down the hill.
Running to something small, easy road, not tomorrow. That's a good idea, as I said before. Occasionally, however, after all these precautions, things will happen. We might be the lucky ones who actually camped out at night. And at that time, it's going to be too late for me to tell you what to do, so it's my responsibility for now. And in case you want the money, remember me now how to react. Basically, don't panic if you find yourself in the water. Hang your feet, break your feet, and all the other things. So don't do that. Keep it on the surface of the water. That way you kind of go over obstacles instead of getting caught on them. Okay? So while you're doing this, we're gonna chase you down with another boat or the same boat, or maybe throw you a rope. If we throw you a rope, we'll let you know. It might be just upstream from you, so while you're laying back, you might wanna reach back, grab that rope, pull it to your chest and hold on to it tight. You don't have to do anything else, but hold on to it tight. We'll do the work, we'll pull you back to the work. You should make kids. I was in the sea, I was in the cop. I was in the cop.
They're taking a different boat with a prettier driver.
Try kissing your husband. It doesn't work.
Sorry about that. People jostling me. Everybody's trying to get on lifeboat.
Sorry about that.
It's terrible.
Marilyn decided to go with the cutie pie.
Well, of course. Her camera, I guess, wants to take pictures of her, too. Off to launch.
That got some weight out of our boat, so we only have 6 instead of 8.
Goodbye, Lavina.
Bye!
So they look happy. Let's see if the glare gets it. Must be South Dakota. It's Rapid City. Well, let's figure the glare is too much for the camera and sign off. Somehow they managed to get in without me seeing them. Launching.
I don't think so.
I hear another one being launched.
That's the motor.
People look happy out there. This is the highlight of their trip. How far down has Marilyn gotten? Well, guess I'm off duty now. Goodbye. Everybody's leaving. Looks like mom, isn't it? This is how people enjoy raft trips. I just ran up the hill. She's looking down at them. But they're not there and she doesn't know it. Oh. Moose patrol. We're looking for a moose out here someplace. There's the people looking for a moose. So now we're looking for a moose. And maybe it's in there someplace. I don't see it. There is one. Sorry, it's people behind me. I'm going to have to get going here. We assume it's in the...
Okay, it's our last night in Alaska. This is the view out the window. Looking west, I guess. In Denali. The view out our bed and breakfast window. And it is 11:35 at night. The sun should set and be dark. Well, not dark, a little dark, in about half an hour.
Are you taking a picture of it?
I'm taking a picture of sand pits.
The whole mountain. It's all sand, ready to be harvested.
Gee, Alaska.
A natural resource.
Okay, can I go now?
And the
No.
other side of the road, too.
Oops, gotta put it
Everything's
forward.
a sand pit.
Goodbye!
Possible. And the weather outside is just what it's usually like in Alaska. Cold and overcast and rainy. End of the family vacation. out my refrigerator when I was just vacuuming, and now it's up on the ceiling. I think the beater bar on the vacuum cleaner upset it a little, sort of like a major earthquake, I think. I should try to grab it with the, it's over here. I should try to grab it with the wastewater basket and put it outside, because eventually it will be cat food. So cute though. Whoops. I need a tripod for this camera if Santa Claus is listening. I use tripod. Okay, bye mouse.
The red button means we got power, is that?
It means you're taking it, and you're not supposed to be.
Is this applesauce?
Oh, I'm not supposed to be doing
No,
this?
that's taco sauce.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, then I'll
she
stop.
said dip marshmallows in it. I didn't know what.
Okay.
And don't push.
I don't know. Oh, I was kidding.
This is George making mashed potatoes. You want to show some mashed potatoes, George?
I
I'm in a
had
bad
a house
mood.
guest when I was out in Illinois, and we had
George,
to know all
say
the
something.
information.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'll show you how to eat mashed potatoes.
Okay. How old are you today?
What do you want, the Voorhees station or East Elevator?
43.
Main office.
Main office?
Okay, what did Donna? I did it to
Do you
me.
have an 800 number for the main office?
Wave.
East elevator be
Is it
all right.
no mine or what?
No, B-men.
B-men. B-men, East Elevator would be fine.
Good.
6122, I think.
Spicy, eh?
This is Ed spending my money.
Listen, they're going to raise it from 22 cents to 40 cents for information calls, they said.
Really? Every one? Or only over like 4 or 5 or something?
Oh, the turkey.
So it's going to be so exciting on Saturday.
George and the turkey.
Well, just
I think Ed is the wildlife person. He knows
Move
how.
over, Alan, or
Don't
he'll.
move, Alan. Take this and set it in front of you.
I got one side.
Alan can do it.
Alan carve.
Baloney.
Almost.
I'm not carving a
It
turkey.
isn't a little
Ed
turkey.
can carve.
Ed,
Ed, you can carve, don't
Carving
you?
is another one of those things I do poorly, I'm
He
sure.
doesn't get eat the whole turkey.
Why don't you get this out of your way since you're going to be moving the turkey? Why don't we just put where I could get to it?
Is George going to carve the turkey?
Yes.
George, I've seen George do that before, and he does a good
He's
job.
really good, isn't he?
And Mark,
Where you sit?
Alan, put that.
don't get too anxious about the food. We're going to serve you. Well, it looked like that I moved the
You can
block
grab a
because I
roll.
thought he
You
was
can
going to
grab a
cook
leg
us.
if you like.
But I remember last time how you were grabbing for the meat and stuff.
Oh, we didn't like that.
Grab one of those legs.
George and I have never forgotten the night I roasted 2 small
So if you guys have a plate,
I didn't realize that.
George and I tried to eat the other one.
We got somebody hogging plates over here.
Haagen-Dazs.
That's a
Yeah.
small, small.
Pass out the plate.
No. George said Marilyn left some mixture from stuffing. He called me up this morning and said when to put it in the oven. I said put it in the oven right now. And Marilyn gave me a big lot of trouble because I had him.
We're supposed to give them.
Nothing
No,
will
we
happen
need the
to
syrup
us.
in there. I'm sorry.
That's your mother? Mother? Latte?
I think we're going to have to pay. Oh, they're hot.
They're
Oh,
warm. They're not
good. They're wonderful.
Another plate down there.
Marilyn doesn't need a plate. Oh, yes, you do.
George.
I asked for water, but I was busy drinking soda, but I didn't get anything.
I thought you said you had a glass.
I do, but everything moved around. I don't know where it went.
Looks like George's getting neglected on his birthday again.
George, if this were your
You had to
birthday,
carry
you would
it.
get your litter of
Stuck in
attention.
Lodi again.
Alan,
Let's shut it down.
Alan, George, and Donna, I think.
Don, it's your birthday too?
Happy
A couple weeks
birthday.
ago.
Everyone has to Alan sing.
This is a
Happy birthday to everyone. Happy birthday to
everyone.
Happy birthday, George Allen.
Now this is 4-3 for George, and 4-5 for Alan, and 1 in the middle for Donna. Wait, Donna, don't move. I gotta take a picture of you blowing. Oh, 1 for Donna. Okay, I got it. Just get over there and blow out your candles.
Alan's blowing on this side, George is blowing on that side.
Donna's blowing in the middle.
Ready?
You nailed that one. 2. Count somebody. 2, 2, 3. Smile.
Save.
Pretty bad.
It's
Disgusting.
Well, spitting on it puts out the candle fat. It's blowing.
Okay. Hey, George.
They didn't tell you exactly what latitude.
Hi.
They must have.
I'm reporting live from the White House.
Easy not to have.
Have a very happy birthday.
Never used it.
Little cats. Whoa. Going out there.
Grandma's cat.
Just look at this here.
Grandma's
Yep.
cat's inside.
Please ignore front page. My shopping for cards or anything else has been limited because none of us will drive Mom around.
Well,
Ed's got her car.
Like, look at
Donna doesn't
Ed.
care.
There's Ed who doesn't
Pete's
jump.
never around. Alan's busy.
Oh.
Mark's gone.
Mark can't drive.
I'm the one.
Mark and I are both limited, aren't we?
Anyone can have birthdays, but when it's one for you, it must be especially happy just because you're special too. Have a lovely time. And there's some scrolling down here. Mom doesn't know it, but her pen was out of ink.
Well, I can't read it without it.
Look, she didn't know there was no ink on it.
I got 0 in here.
I see that.
It's not focusing. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, we
She
can
knows
see
what
that.
you wrote.
I know what I wrote, but it isn't there.
Many happy years.
She thought her eyes were going bad. Pins went out.
My pen goes fast.
Good love,
When
Mother.
you get down to the bottom of these things, I can never see.
You're welcome,
Put it
George.
right here.
Well, what was in there?
Where?
In the card. What was in there?
I'm 43 years old here. I'll just put this in my pocket.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all you can expect. Thank you.
You're welcome, George.
Well, this has been fun. Let's all go to sleep.
Mark,
now.
Sandy, Ed, see if there's something else back there.
Did you lose the rest of it?
No, I put it in my pocket. It was safe from Ed's.
There's lots of stuff back there.
Someone pass it to George, please.
Okay, okay.
Oh.
Pete, you don't know about those chairs. You're the only person here who hasn't broken a chair just about except for
I didn't break
Ed.
it.
I guess we have so many dead guys in the past.
Don't lean too far. Huh?
But they're really old and creaky. You gotta be very careful. Mark,
I
it's
don't
taken
know
Mark
why we
years
didn't
to
have the
understand.
centerpiece. I told Marilyn to take my corsage
Okay,
and
now
use it
what
for a
is
centerpiece.
I want to still stay in the picture. This is from Donna. I don't know why we leave this thing over the air. This would be very sexually explicit or something.
Oh, it probably says something.
Oh, look at that. A gray box. That was one of those he already has.
Can you make this interesting so we can speed
E
this up?
equals MC squared, it says here.
Oh, no.
Early in his career, Einstein discovered the hazards of drinking and deriving.
Deriving.
Oh, that's cute.
According to my calculations about time your
Well,
birthday.
we need some help. Okay, we can.
Make this exciting.
Feels like
Looks like, sounds like.
sneakers.
What
Must be Snickers. Must be.
What might it be?
Tissue paper for when you run out of toilet paper.
Uh-huh.
And it's genuine.
Shirt in a Reebok box.
Ah, boy.
It's a Pendleton medium.
Oh, the Pendleton.
Oh, it looks love
I'm
on
gonna wear
my.
it tonight.
I told him about that before, so this is not a surprise.
George had one like that years ago. It's probably worn out by
This
now.
is genuine wool.
Very
But the
nice.
problem is he puts it through the washer, and then I saying I couldn't resist. It was so cool.
This is a fairly small one, it looks like.
A micro compass, which is better than Ralph had on
Hold
his
on, let's zoom in on that so we can see.
No doubt.
I was in EMS, and I couldn't resist. It was so cute.
I'm gonna open up and try it out.
Any compass that works would probably be
You
better.
know, they tell you to strap it on your watch cam, but when your watch interfere with its magnet,
Nah,
no?
they work. They're not.
But you can put it on your
Oh,
finger.
it comes with a band too.
Not big enough for a wrist. It's
Oh,
like-
I see. It
Put up
goes
to your
against.
finger. Put it on your watch, or
It goes on one of those
finger,
Velcro watch
or you can
bands.
put it on your belt loop or something like that. So you can have this little watch.
Okay, that one should be south. No?
Let's zoom in on that, George. Huh.
That way is south. Is that right, Alan? You must have a compass.
Pretty close.
Is
You got
it,
sneakers.
is it correct?
No, not Snickers.
Very nice. Very nice.
This would have been awfully handy on Ralph's boat. He had the GPS he was trying to steer by, which is way behind the times. He had 2 full turns of slack
Oh
in
yeah,
the
this is
wheel.
luminous
And
dial.
he had a remote type of compass, electronic thing. It was also behind the times. And the way the boat's made, as soon as it starts to skid out, there's no keel or anything, it just starts to skid and it keeps going. It gets into turn about that fast. You'll end up going over there. So our whole trip to Bahamas was just like this. control that with a motor, George? If you drag the motor?
Keep on going.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry.
Finally knocked it over.
It's luminous too.
Is it empty?
Thank you.
It's a collision on high seas.
So the boat skiddied.
Yeah, it was
I
a
suppose we should-
They do
as soon as
went
they look at
50 miles.
other
You got spinning the real fast,
birthday
trying to
boy
get back,
over
we still
here.
lose 10 or 15 degrees.
Wow.
Here, George.
You got socks too?
This is tied together.
Socks
And here's the card.
No, that no.
Who's that from?
No.
Oh.
This is all this stuff's for me. The card's separate. I don't know who the card.
I believe Donna's
The card, I think, went with that other package that he's already opened.
Oh, really?
Socks, I love to get socks.
You like those socks?
Did he get
Oh, socks are great.
Excuse me,
Wow,
camera.
nice. I have some socks
Sure.
like these.
Except you burned
Say
them.
hello.
I like these socks.
I know,
These
I
are very
remember.
nice.
I remember
I
you
like getting
Oh,
socks.
George has socks like those.
Oh, socks.
Well, I know,
Okay,
that's why I
good.
got them.
You can never have enough socks.
They have no socks now.
Sock it to him.
At least for this
Socks and
one.
sockets?
Oh, that would have been good, but no.
Socks tied to.
Oh, I don't know, I'll probably be tired from working so long.
Tired.
Go ahead.
That's correct.
Marilyn, this has been a lovely dinner. Thank you so much.
And there's a pumpkin
Should be
that came
ready.
from Marilyn's garden.
That's right.
Music, you know.
I didn't
Music,
tell Marilyn
yes.
I was saving
Good beat.
that envelope for
I'll
next
try
year.
not to.
George, you gave it.
Mike's working this week.
They gave up trying to untie it, I take it.
Hurry up, George.
We're running out of film. Dun,
I
dun,
don't know
dun,
what
dun,
it says. It
dun,
may be a
dun.
typewriter. I'm hoping for a
Give the-
typewriter.
It's a
Laptop.
A laptop computer.
Oh, just a speller.
Why,
Show
thank
us,
you.
show us, George.
A genuine slaughtering gun.
A slaughtering
Oh.
gun,
It's in bad
hey.
shape.
Gee whiz.
Wow.
How'd you know I was on a diet, Mark?
As I knew it.
Well, you didn't like yours.
Well, what does Alan have?
Alan has, there's a gift.
Mark, you're so
There's a gift lingering over here on this end of the table. Let's see.
Cougar ants, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a gold bar.
Why?
Very nice.
Mark.
Oh, stand up, I'll take a
That comes with a list of
Just a minute, you guys are gonna move the place.
I'm sure that I knew that.
He couldn't stand it.
Oh, God, look at that.
What is it?
Show that. It's fattening.
Let's hold it up.
gotta keep more weight.
Zoom in on that. Oh,
Wonderful.
alright, yeah.
This is what we didn't buy at Mystic Village the last time we were there.
Coastal fudge.
Time.
Coastal fudge.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ta-da! Keep them shut, keep them shut.
Oh, no.
Keep them shut.
Don't open them yet.
Hold your nose.
No
Hold your
cheating.
nose.
Hold your nose. And first one guesses what it is.
How can I do it with all my nose being open?
Well, you put one hand on it.
That's right.
That's it. This is a Halloween thing. Put your
Put your hand down.
hand down.
Down.
Put your hand down.
Yes. Reach out and feel,
Oh, one little finger, Susan. Let him do one little finger.
Let him touch. Just one little finger.
Look at George. Look at George.
Wait, it was
I don't feel anything yet.
Keep going. Alan,
your little
Alan, go ahead and feel his. That's pretty cool.
feel out. Feel it. Go on.
Oh, it's a cactus.
No, it's not a cactus.
No, it's not a
No,
cactus.
it's not a cactus.
You
Whipped
better
cream?
feel.
Feel it. One touch. Keep that going down.
Come on.
Down, down, down.
George hasn't figured it out yet.
Come on, you're close.
I'm coming over for supper tomorrow night. Your house or George's, one of
Oh,
those.
it's beef.
Yeah.
Beef. It's bluefish. Oh,
Bluefish?
it's tuna. It's tuna.
Wow.
It's tuna or bluefish?
Well, there's some bluefish. See, when I got the bluefish, I said, oh, boy, to make bluefish halfway decent, you have to fillet it when it's still alive. So I sliced it up and all the blood came out.
They let you keep the fish.
Yeah. Well, I caught it.
How did you
Isn't
do
that
that?
lovely?
What do you mean they let him keep the fish?
Looks great.
It's wonderful.
George, you want to show the camera your present?
Yeah, the tuna's this big long one. There's still bones in it. I skinned it and got it off the thing, but you know, you better look for your bones.
Oh, you got fish for both of them?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's Alan's present. That's George's present.
I'm gonna got more fish.
I thought you must have
Where you
brought
going?
salmon from
The
Alaska.
trade show in Louisville.
Eat it for breakfast.
Pack them all in water.
You can cook it up and
People say to
can
me,
make
you
like
don't
a
eat
tuna fish
bluefish,
salad out
do you?
of it.
Boy,
Bluefish
do I eat
salad.
bluefish.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Neat. It's fresh.
It was thoughtful of you.
Don, am I wrong?
Michael even remembers when you used to get grossed out when I took mine and wallowed it around.
Alan would raise up his shirt and wallow his fat around.
George doesn't have a
George,
belly.
he likes to do this.
Forget it, Marilyn. He doesn't have one.
Come on,
It's
show
a
us your
still
left hand.
camera. Gee whiz.
Show you my scar.
Okay, let's do that.
No.
Oh, no.
Sandy, don't be a party pooper.
You wouldn't ask me to show you mine, would you?
George, you gotta do something. You're getting old and boring and sedate.
You're not? You weren't. No.
No, George is a year older than he was yesterday. I'm a year younger. Yesterday I was twice as old as he was, and today I'm not.
Fair enough. Well, why don't you edit that out, Marilyn? Back this up and start over. Can you back up?
Sure, we're
Let's
back
see,
up.
that's
Now start
88?
over again. I'll edit
No,
that
wait,
last part
George
out.
is not 44. I was 44.
You are
I'm not twice as
44.
old
You
as
will be
you are.
45.
That's true.
I will never be twice as old as you are.
Kisses
I
for
was
the
one.
daddy.
I told you to do that.
Oh, don't do
I
that.
think he was like 14
3 and
or
a half.
something. He never put clothes on. He'd run around the house with the kitchen with his under his arm.
Mark, let's see what you had
Old, loose,
when you were
worn out
4 and a
underwear.
Well, so you don't want to show us your belly, Mark?
Marilyn used to always come over and check on him. Don't do it
Mark,
quickly.
Set the camera down. Don't stand there and hold it. You'll do it. Doesn't make sense. Put it on the box. On the box.
Wait.
George wouldn't tell me about his trip. He said, wait till I tell everybody.
Okay, I got you now.
Brown, you can move your viewfinder. The thing that goes up. Just stop.
You can move that, but you can't move the other thing, Mark.
Oh, that's
You can move this, but it doesn't make a difference about the other thing. Okay. I want a tripod for Christmas, by the way.
Marilyn, what are you doing?
You look like I can.
That's a lovely pumpkin, but why
This is what
would
we do for fun around here. There's 10 people
That's a
around
nice
this table. There's pumpkins around.
We're waiting for the presidential debate.
When is that?
Hurry up,
So you
George.
rushed down to Florida. I rushed down to Florida. Ralph's had his landing craft for a couple of years. Been waiting for a contract. Finally, he's got a contract. And hurry up, rush down. We're gonna leave tomorrow. So I got my reservations and rushed down. And I got there at 2 o'clock and rushed
I'm
over.
shaking the table. I see the camera one.
Rushed over from the airport. Got there and they were still loading the boats. I said, gee, not ready to go yet, I guess. And they had started loading the boat from the back, some concrete and cinder blocks and things like that. And they started loading from the front, a bunch of treated heavy lumber across the front. They had some other things here and there, some refrigerators and air conditioners and things. They bring some trusses on to put on top of that. And there wasn't room for a lot of these things in there. And Ralph's starting to say, gee, it's getting kind of heavy. You got more on there than I want to have in the boat because the little stripe on the side of the boat is getting underwater. So he said, you better stop putting stuff on. Well, he said, stop putting stuff on. I don't want to haul any more. I said, listen, you contracted with us to carry our 60 tons of stuff over there. You say you'll haul 90 tons, and this is 40 tons on here or something like that. And ends up, they took a bunch of stuff off, put some other stuff on, rearranged everything in the boat. Somebody spent a lot of money on crane work. And the crane to come back the next day to do all this stuff too because it was all rearranging and I was not going to go. too deep in the water. In the meantime, he didn't want to go because that was my fault.
That's okay.
Because he didn't have insurance, but he was working on getting insurance. One of the guys that was hiring him was close to some insurance company. He said, I found somebody to sell you insurance. We said, oh, thank the Lord, I've got insurance now. And he spent something like, the idea was something like $16,000 a year. He gave him some money. The next day, after the boat was arranged and ready to go, we went to Miami to the Costa Rican embassy or building or something and deposited some cash money that Ralph had gotten from the people who were hiring him. They paid him cash before we ever left the dock to take this trip to the Bahamas. So he could go pay for his insurance and he deposited directly into the bank of Costa Rica. It's cash into the bank. So we have insurance. So then they could get cargo insurance so nobody had to worry about anything. So we got all that done and then about the time we got back, some other insurance agent said, gee, I would have sold you insurance. Ralph said, those son of bitches, they sold me insurance. It's the wrong kind of insurance. Damn them. And I'm going to try to put it out of business, get the Florida insurance commissioner to come down on them because they sold me the wrong kind of insurance and blah, blah, because he could get cheaper insurance someplace else, he thinks. So we screwed around. And now Ralph decided maybe he can get insurance, so a different company. So now the weather's too bad. There's too many waves out there. Ralph can't go because it's too rough. Really, it's probably because he wants to get insurance on Monday from somebody else. I don't know how long it was. We finally left after a few days. I was there about 4 or 5 days before we left.
You're getting paid for those 4 or 5 days?
Yes, and I kept saying, am I going to pay for these 4 or 5 days? And am I on the clock now? What's going on here? And how am I going to get paid? He said, well, I'm getting paid cash, you'll get paid cash. Well, after all, I ran out of cash, so I wasn't going to get paid cash.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ralph. There's two partners that own a house in the Bahamas. They wanted some building materials taken over there. We ended up leaving, after loading and unloading enough trusses to build a house. We took some trusses for the garage. We left trusses, we left concrete mix, we left cinder blocks, we left sheetrock.
Oh.
A lot of stuff on the dock. Some stuff they took back to the store where they bought it and paid a 25% restocking fee. Some stuff they just flat gave away. They hired a truck to come in and haul some of the stuff off, and they had the crane come back to take this stuff off. And some stuff they stored in the warehouse there at the marina, which cost them money too. They're not happy. They paid Ralph. They're else not taking the whole thing. And Ralph was moaning and groaning and said, I'll just take it off. I'll take the rest of the stuff free. I'll make another trip and take the rest of the stuff free.
Oh, Lonnie.
Yeah, well, anybody that knew Ralph knew he wouldn't do that, but they should have just sued him right then. But we got going. The idea is the house broken down in the Bahamas. They wanted to get it fixed, so they were taking about 10 carpenters, plumbers, things like that they knew, young guys from this country, and the cabin crew is about a 50-foot boat ahead of us.
They must be so rich.
They have some money. And so this thing's chugging along, trying to maintain some distance ahead of us, and we're going about 8 knots or so. Just following his tail light after it got too dark, just followed him to the Bahamas and on and on and on to the island we're supposed to go. And we had some filter trouble because Ralph was supposed to buy at least 3 changes of filters, and he had 2 spare filters, 1 for each side. And pretty soon, because he had old fuel, they plugged up and the motor started stopping. And he started saying, well, then you got to get me some more filters. We hadn't even got out of into the Bahamas yet when this happened. And fortunately, it was pretty calm after that, and we kept working, and we rinsed him out in gasoline after a while, and kept going. But he was really panicky, like, well, we better have somebody fly some in from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, rinsing stuff out in gasoline is real neat to do aboard ship, too.
Well, yeah, it was
Real
pretty calm. It was all right.
In the Bahamas, just pour it overboard and kill some fish.
Yeah, well, and that was fine. They could have had some flown into Harbor Island, onto North Eleuthera, or whatever it is there. Except U.S. Air was on strike, and U.S. Air is the one that flew things in. So we couldn't get the filters in. And he said, well, now, you guys own some airplanes, just fly it out for me. Like, we told you to buy filters, Ralph. The guy said, now, you sure you got plenty of filters? There were at least 3 changes. Oh, yeah. But Ralph was too cheap to buy filters because they cost like $15 a piece, and he didn't want to spend any. So, I don't know. The whole story is just...
Ralph was not in the brain.
No, Ralph's pretty bad. Little details of the stupidity involved in the boat ride is just amazing.
How much did he get paid for this?
Ralph got $5,000 plus they were going to put 1,200 gallons of fuel in his boat, but since he got the fuel for free from somebody, he said, how about you just give me $1,000 for the fuel? And they said, oh, okay. And so that's the range of 5,000 plus 1,000 for fuel.
Wait, so that's ridiculous. He would have made better off by putting fuel in, because diesel's over $1 a gallon.
They got it for free.
But he got it for free.
Okay.
Plus, it doesn't take 1,000 gallons to do the trip.
Right.
Well, he should have mixed it up with the bad.
But he felt that he got jipped out of the money anyway.
George doesn't understand what he's telling you because he didn't understand Ralph.
Yeah. Okay. So they got out to Harbor Island and to the customs place where you pull in, and they got the custom guy down there who was also the immigration guy. And
convenient.
The idea was he wanted to take the landing craft and go up to the house on the beach where they have this house they're working on, drop the gate, and haul all this stuff off. Well, the custom guy pretty quickly said, well, what are all these guys here for? There's 4 guys on our boat and 8 or 10 guys on that boat. And they said, well, we got permission from your superior, Ferguson, over in Nassau to go ahead and bring these guys out here because the Bahamas has waived some of the regulations for this period, for the year. You can bring labor in from someplace else. And the local guy who didn't like him at all said, no. No.
Like Ralph at all, or?
Didn't like the guys that own the property out there. Our people who hired us, he said, no, you're not, those guys aren't coming ashore. No, yeah, but you're not unloading the stuff at your house. You unload it right here, and the boat has to be gone tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Nobody gets off. So they worked with him a little bit, and were able to use half native and half our boat labor to unload the boat. The idea was we were supposed to leave tomorrow morning, but then it was so rough the next day, they said, that we didn't leave, and we hung around there. They were trying to get things changed. They were on their portable phones the whole time, talking to Nassau and every place else, because the cellular phones work in the Bahamas. And they just lighting up the airwaves, trying to get things fixed. And they finally decided they were going to get this guy fired and out of there and everything, but it never happened. The guys at Nassau were just telling them what they wanted to hear. And Probably they paid the Nassau people off pretty well.
Well, I don't know. They've got real connections. These people have, the guys that we were working for have some money, but one of their fathers has a lot of money and knows a lot of people, like the guy that runs Shell out there in the Bahamas. Pretty big operation. So they've got some pull, got some friends. Ended up, we got all the stuff off and hung around and trying to get past, and it didn't work out, so I went to Spanish Wells and sort of hung out there for a while, and the custom guy followed us, and some of the idiot kids, the carpenter type people, got off the boat and walking around, and he sort of almost put him in jail for that. He had, in the past, he had put somebody in jail before, so he would do that. He was just ready to do
They
it.
could have got arrested for getting off the boat.
Sure, yeah. So we sort of moved out of Spanish
You'd never been
Wells.
to the Bahamas before, had you?
That's correct. We got out, and it was devastated by the hurricane. The houses were still there, but a lot of the roofs were blown off, and the place was a mess. The palm trees are no longer palm trees; they're just sticks or gone. And what should be a beautiful beach was just looks like a hurricane went through. Just a mess. It's all just scrubby garbage shit out there. And none of the lights work anymore. All the things they found, like the navigation stuff they finally got going, doesn't work. So we were Spanish Wells, and we had to leave. The guy said, well, leave. So we started out, and Ralph's got this filter thing where he can play mechanical couple because he doesn't have the filters he wants, and he's still trying to get somebody to fly him some filters in, and we're still trying to tell him we can just wash out with gasoline. So we hung out that night, a little cove outside of Spanish Wells, and they were trying to get word from a clearance from the big cheeses to go ahead and go back to Harbor Island. And the word was, yeah, just go back, everything's cool. But they wanted to get something faxed or something in writing because they knew if they went back, the guy would put them in jail. It's kind of, well, sure, go back. He told us before we could go in the first place, and the guy wants to put us in jail. So now go back and everything will be fine. So it worked out that there was no real solid, concrete permission. So it was, well, go back to the USA. And on the way back, they got some connections, like I said, and they were calling ahead and
You
talking.
took the men back that had gone with you?
Everybody that went. Everybody that came. The round trip. So from Spanish Wells, we went to Chub Key, where there's a big American fishing colony, I guess, where people that are rich have little boats out there and they fly out and they go fishing. But the hurricane messed that up pretty good. There was a big block building, and they stored a bunch of these fishing boats in, and it collapsed on them. And the idea was that they were going to pay Ralph something like $2,500 to take damaged boats, 10 of them, to the mainland, the USA.
For what, $2,500 per boat?
No, for the whole full
load.
Oh, it's just one load?
For 10 boats. It's $250 a boat.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Small boat.
Which is, and Ralph,
He's going back anyway.
yeah, exactly. You're going back empty anyway. And they said, here's the deal, Ralph. We'll give you $1,000 for the fuel, like we said, or, and you can go back empty, or we'll give you this load that'll pay you $2,500, and you won't get the $1,000 for fuel. Or they could have said, we'll give you the $1,000 anyway and pay you $1,500 for it. But Ralph was afraid they were making some money on the deal. They weren't paying him the $1,000. Somehow they were getting by with that. But he was all bent on it. He didn't want to take the load.
Did
But
real good
Ralph,
in math, huh?
I said, Ralph, one way you're going to get $1,000, you get the $5,000 anyway. You get $1,000 one way, and you get $2,500 this way you don't want to go. I mean, you're here anyway. You're empty. It's going to take, what, 4 hours to get loaded up? And it probably makes sense to go ahead and take that load. So I finally got him to take the load.
All right.
But
You got a Christmas bonus for that.
coming in to Chubb there, we had left Spanish
We're
Wells.
going to have some cash
and
to pay him.
We're going along, and it got dark, and the guys in the cabin cruiser, we went ahead to get the load organized. They were going to load us real quick that night, because it was by hand. They got 10 guys. But it was dark, and we were no longer following the little cabin cruiser.
Oh.
So we had to navigate for the first time. We found out that Ralph had no idea how to navigate. And he's really panicky about the whole thing. I said, well, you got the GPS. Can't you push the little button and it tells you what your latitude and longitude is? And, well, yeah. I said, well, then we're all set. So we've got a compass that sort of works. A big old antique compass here on the floor around the corner where you couldn't see it. But you could lean over and shine a flashlight on it. It worked only there. No other compass was accurate. You couldn't trust anything. And there's no depth sounder, and the autopilot didn't work.
But she didn't have radar.
They had radar that worked on the trip home at least.
Sure, it came out alive.
So after they were out of sight and gone for a couple hours, we're going along, and we got Chubb on, or some of the keys around Chubb on radar, and Ralph's on the radio, Arctic turn, this is Bear. It looks like we've got something on the radar here. We've got this island. It looks something like a sort of a pear-shaped thing, and with a little fuzz in the left-hand corner. How are we doing here? What heading should we be on? And I got us on the chart here. I know what the coordinates are. We're here, but Ralph's carrying on like he's just in a big panic. And so for another 4 hours, there was this chatter on the radio back and forth, where he's saying, "Well, we got by that one, and we're about 10 miles out now, and we got this crescent-shaped thing, and I see some lights in the distance over there, and it looks like they're a mile from the lights, sort of two lights with a light beside it, and I'm not sure." And
Columbus did better than this.
and this is for hours, and everything's fine. We know we're doing fine. We know our heading, we know where we are.
Why didn't you believe anybody? Why didn't you believe you that you knew the coordinates?
I don't know. I'd say, "Well, Ralph, here we are, we're all set." And Arctic turn. Well, it looks like we're about 5 miles out now. What should we do? Are there any lights? Can you come down and try some headlights out so we know where you are? And so they said, "Okay, when you get a mile out, Ralph, call us, and we'll come down with the car, we'll put it in the end of the thing, and we'll show the headlights out so you'll know where we are. We'll tell you just what to do." But this is every 5 minutes. Arctic turn. It was awful because there's no reason to be doing this panicky stuff.
And George, you were right with him all the time.
Yeah, and I said, "Now, your radar shows this crescent-shaped island, this boomerang-shaped island, Ralph, and as soon as you get around a little bit more here, you'll see the next island's about the same shape, a little bit bigger. And Arctic turn, we see this boomerang-shaped island. We don't know what to do next. What's going to happen is we see a little point around the corner there. Is that where we're going? We think we're there now."
You guys must have thought he was a total idiot.
No kidding. Anybody with a radio had to know that.
It took George a trip to Florida in 2 weeks to find
No,
out.
I knew that already. But so this persisted for hours, and we finally got we had this book, the Bahamas, that book. Pass the book over, please.
You had that book?
Not that one just like it.
You had a book?
We got the Bahamas chart book.
That's in the
Very much
movie.
like this one. This is mine. I left at home.
Thank goodness
But
Ralph didn't believe it.
We went something like from Florida over here. This is Cat Key, and this is upside down for you, but you'll survive it. And this is where you get off the bank, and this is Chubb. You go over here to Harbor Island. We can all hear you.
Well, except for Donna.
In this book, I'm not going to go to the right page, but it shows just exactly where the shallows are and what the shape of the land is. And then you go to a different page, and it shows a photograph of the stupid harbor where you're going. It's going to show just exactly how to go around the point and what it's like. And it says, "Now just stay within close." And so they're on the radio and say, "Okay, now Ralph, when you get to the point, stay within 75 yards of the point. Just go straight to the point. You've got the radar on, you can see the point. Just go straight there and follow real close right around. There's a sailboat with a mast light out there, anchored off. And make sure you put it in your port side and come right in around the point. And we'll have the car down there with the headlights on. And everything will be fine." So there's a lot of panicky chatter back and forth with Ralph. "Well, I see what looks like a house out there in the water. It's all lit up. It looks square. Blah, blah, blah." Well, they said, "Well, that's probably a fishing boat out there with a couple little dinghies beside it." We saw that before. Just get to the point on the radar and look for the cellular mast light. And just take it right and follow close in beside it. Everything cool. So we got up to the point. Ralph didn't want to be close, and so Ralph doesn't like to get close to things. He doesn't like dark. He doesn't like open ocean.
What does he like?
He likes to stay home.
You know what happened was.
So he headed kind of for the point, and the boat doesn't draw much water anyway, so it's not much of a problem. But so we can see the car headlights. They flashed it, and we're just coming around the point. And they're saying, "Now Ralph, come starboard a little bit. Come starboard," because he thought they meant go around the other side of the sailboat. He always got his directions screwed up.
I was just going to ask about this port.
75 yards is not a lot. It's 75 yards is close. Ralph didn't like to come close, but in the Bahamas, it's like you come close to the stuff because that's where it drops off, and the other gets shallow. So they said, "Turn right, Ralph. Turn right, Ralph. Turn right now, Ralph. Now, hurry, turn right." So he finally got around the point and was headed for the headlights. And now we're gold. We got the spotlight on. I was controlling the spotlight. Ralph was driving the boat because it's his boat and it's his job. We've seen the chart. We've seen the photographs, the aerial photos of the harbor entrance. We know there's just a little thing that's cut through the land like that, and it goes into a harbor. It's all man-made stuff. So they're there on a point of land with the headlights, and they're all standing beside the car, and they flash light 3 times. We know it's there. And they said, "Now Ralph, come straight for the headlights, And then when you get up here, we'll tell you where the harbor entrance is, and you can just turn in there and everything will be fine. So we're getting pretty close, and they said, okay, Ralph, now, do you see the harbor thing? I had the light shining. We're head straight for the point of land. It's the corner where we go right in beside it, and there's the harbor entrance right there. I shine the spotlight, big, bright spotlight, on the harbor entrance. He said, now, Ralph, do you see the harbor entrance? It's just off to our left, to your right from us. And Ralph said, yeah. So he turned and headed for the beach. And it's like, I'm following over there with where the harbor thing is, and he's going this way. They said, Ralph, stop. Stop now, Ralph. Put it in reverse, Ralph. Back up, Ralph. Come back. We missed it, Ralph. So it was terrible. So we backed up and we found it. And he's complaining about why I didn't tell him where things were and how people were trying to deceive him and everything. We get in there, and we finally get docked up, and he slams into the dock and has a hard time anyway. That's what it always is. So we got off the boat, and I walked up to Joe, who was one of the guys that hired us, and I said, I'd follow that man anywhere. he was quoting me for a while, because it was... Everybody on the whole island had to hear Ralph on his radio.
I'm sure they did.
It was just
They're probably all taping it too.
And on the way out there, they said, Ralph, let us talk to George. So for one time on the radio, a guy said, we're about 9 miles out. Ralph couldn't hear me because of the engine noise. I said, we're about 9 miles out. We just passed this little island here. We're just southwest of it. We'll be there in just a little bit over an hour. Everything's just fine. But don't tell Ralph. but don't tell Ralph I told you.
Don't tell Ralph.
This is too funny.
This is just the tip of the iceberg of the stupidity that went on the trip.
I asked George about it too, and he wouldn't tell me.
So we got there, and it was dark, and the mosquitoes were awful, just awful.
Where's the Fairbanks, huh?
Yeah, they were just eating us up. So out here I'm on a metal boat with doors that are open to cool the thing off, and screens which are small windows, and with 4 motors running all day underneath me, and it's been hot. So I didn't sleep well because you had to close the doors, and then it's hotter than hell in there. Nothing you could do. Ralph was upstairs with the air conditioner going. So the next day, the guys all manhandled the boats on and got them all on, and Ralph's moaning and groaning and complaining. He's not getting $1,000 for fuel. But he really, they said, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to take this up because I'm not getting $1,000 for fuel. They finally said, Ralph, you're making money here. Trust us. And he said, well, I can't leave without the filters. And they said, Ralph, we're going.
Who said that?
The guys that hired him. He really expected them to fly the filters out to him. They said if you break them, followed them for a while, and they got out of sight.
I would have been history. Get the hell out of here.
That's what they should have done. And we navigated home, and everything was fine. We changed the filters once we got as far as Gun Key, Cat Key, just before you get to the last island in the Bahamas, and stopped for the night. And there was no problem. And the next morning we got up, and they were long gone, way ahead of us. They'd already got to Fort Lauderdale by then because they ran through the night.
Why didn't you guys go overnight?
Oh, because there's only 2 of us, and it sort of takes 2 people to run the boat.
Oh.
Somebody has to risk.
Did you anchor? Yeah. And because the cut there between Cat and the Gun Key is something you want to preferably do in the daytime unless you've been through it at least once. And nobody paid any attention the way out. We sort of knew what to do, but it's better to see it. And it was midnight. So we got into Fort Lauderdale the next day, and we're towing one of the boats behind us. We had 5 or 6 or 7 boats all piled up. Big, fairly good size, like 20-foot fishing boats piled up from the landing craft. Some inside and some across, and just some trailers and a golf cart and stuff. We had one 20-footer behind us towing it along. And at night, we had put it up beside the boat so it wouldn't be swinging around behind us. It just we tied up to the starboard side where one of the boats was cargo was sticking out on that side, so we couldn't dock on the starboard side because it had stuff sticking out. But this boat we'd been towing was there for the night, and I put it back behind us for towing along the next day. We got to Fort Lauderdale, and the boat that had been behind us was still behind us. We got stopped at a drawbridge, just waiting for it to open so we could go right up to Lauderdale Marina. And I said, Ralph, while we're stopped here, how about if I just pull it up beside us, because we're not going to go very far or very fast, and we just have it on the starboard side and not have to worry about it. He said, no, just leave it back there. And so you get to Lauderdale Marina, and it's like really nice fuel dock there, really accessible, right in the middle of everything. And he's got a dock about 200 feet long to hit, and it's like this. Now here's the dock. There's a little boat parked here, and Ralph has to just come in and stop. So, but Ralph's way of doing things is, he's not very good with his boat. So he comes in with his boat and says, get the lines ready. Of course, I was already getting the lines ready because I knew that we'd have to tie up. And he comes in and says, now I got a good long, strong bow line on the boat. So we get that on, through at the shore, and somehow the way he does things, he likes to get the bow line and move up and swing back and all kinds of crazy things when he could just come in. Because there was nothing here. It's like you could come right in here. There was nothing there. But there was no current, there was no wind either. So he screwed around with this long bow line and put it in reverse, and I was coming back along the side of the boat, and of course the boat we were towing, the nylon tow rope was getting shorter all the time because he wrapped around the prop and like, pulling this thing down in, closer and closer to the boat. And I ran back there and cut it loose. And
you left the boat?
Well, no, somebody we knew. They both were running. And so finally I had to cast this one off because Ralph was so screwed up and had to go around again and come in again. And we finally threw him longer ropes and got him to turn the motors off. We pulled the boat in. And we were finally there. And I was like, we made it.
Couldn't wait to get back on an airplane. Come
Wait,
on.
when did you go to Marathon?
Well, I'm getting there. And so just down this canal here is a marina where they're going to unload these things. But now it's late in the day, and they're going to unload them tomorrow. So the next day we get up and drive the boat down here. And no, we didn't. The next day we got up and ready to go, and everybody was there. And Al said, you can't unload those till you pay me cash. Like, don't you trust these guys that they already paid you cash once and you hauled the load for them? And he figured they were going to get a check from the insurance company. He wants to get paid cash. He doesn't trust anybody. So they got on the cellular phones and they had some cash ready, and they paid him before he even left the fuel dock here. They had to give him the $2,500 or whatever it was for the load before he'd go over here, and he got over here and dropped the door, and they started unloading the stuff, and everything was pretty much okay. And he went and bought a couple to fuel filters to try to get back to Marathon on.
He hasn't put any fuel in this thing yet, so now
He doesn't use much gas. He had 1,500 gallons in the boat to start with. He had plenty for the trip. He could have almost made the trip twice with the fuel already on it.
Just think if you had a decent rudder and damn thing.
Yeah.
You get really good
miles.
miles.
Hadn't been loose. So we got them unloaded, and it was getting sort of mid-afternoon, I think. And he said, well, Vito called. Some guy ran into the other dock over at Fort Lauderdale waiting for the 4 or 5 days. This guy says he had a lot of money and he wanted some shrimp and things like that that are frozen, run in. He's got some packing business someplace, and he freezes his things, and he had a bunch of traps. So I needed Ralph to do some work for him. And Ralph couldn't get a hold of him. Ralph lost his phone number. And Joe, one of the guys that had hired us, said, this guy, Tom something or other from Bimini, that you promised you talked to when you got back, is hot to talk to. You better give him a call. So Ralph said, yeah. So we got out of Fort Lauderdale. We're headed south now, down toward Marathon, because I decided to stay with Ralph till I got the boat home, because otherwise it wouldn't happen. And so going along, he gets on his cellular phone and calls his Tom Ziles, who's a contractor working in Bimini, which is only 50 miles or less from Fort Lauderdale. And the deal was he was going to haul some stuff over there, and he had told this guy that as soon as he got back, he'd give him a call. He's the first guy on the list. He'd talk to him first. Everything was cool. Well, the guy knew Ralph was back, and he wanted to talk to him real bad because he had some freight to go to Bimini. And obviously the boat would have gone because they just got back from the islands. So we got an hour or two south of Fort Lauderdale, and Ralph decided to call him. And called him, and the guy was... Ralph said, well, I'm going to call him and tell him we're not going to do it. I said, well, just tell him you got transmission trouble, because one of the transmissions was not working right, but it could be fixed. I mean, we could make it work in an emergency. The boat was set up so that it had 2 motors and each had a transmission that fit into one prop, and 2 motors and each had a transmission that fit into another prop. And so any 2 motors, any one motor would make the boat do the trip. So there's no way the boat was ever going to break down completely. And Ralph wasn't using the one with no transmission anyway because he didn't need it. So he said, no, I don't want to tell him that. I don't think the boat's no good. So he got on the phone and said, gee, I've got a big job down in Key West. I'm going to do that. And the guy, I guess, came unglued over the phone because he bought a bunch of freight and was sitting on the dock waiting for Ralph to haul it because he knew Ralph was going to get back and take it right out. And I guess Ralph had agreed to work at $500 a day, but then Ralph got on the phone with him and called him back after the guy was ranting and raving, and I guess probably Ralph hung up on him, I'm not sure which. But then Ralph called his girlfriend down in Marathon, and then he called the guy back and said, well, got this job we got to do and make a lot of money and blah blah. And yeah, I told you I'd call you first, but I talked to somebody else first. Just it kind of happened that way. And would you pay $1,000 a day? And the guy said, yeah, I'll pay you $1,000 a day. It doesn't matter. So Ralph said, well, I got to go down and do this other job anyway.
Oh my God!
And Ralph came up and said, now, do you want to turn around and go do that job? I said, Ralph, I'll work for the next 2 days for $150 a day, except I was going to go to Marathon for the $50 a day. But if you want to go back and do it, I'll work for the next 2 days for $150 a day, and anything after that we can talk about. So within 5 minutes, Ralph had, we didn't pursue the conversation. I said, I'll go. You got to pay me. I'm not working for cheap anymore. And so Ralph, within the next 5 minutes, had contorted that into, well, my crew won't go. My crew refuses to go. He said it a few times on the phone, so I said, Ralph, I didn't say I wouldn't go. I said, you have to pay me if I do go. I never said I wouldn't go.
Thin line.
So
Anyway,
we kept going. We're going to Marathon because Ralph's going to quit the business. No, Ralph's going to buy another boat. No, Ralph's going to do this. Ralph's going to do that. He's going to fix the boat and get rich. And
you didn't punch him in the head?
Where did Ralph get the money to buy the first
But he had a job. He had 3 loads to go to North Cat Cay, which is only 75 miles from Fort Lauderdale, at $8,000 a load. This building materials. And he had this job to Bimini, which is at least 3 loads at $1,000 a load or $1,000 a day, whichever is highest. I don't know. It's just.
My dad should get into that business.
No, it doesn't happen that often.
But there's going to be a couple of years worth of work like that.
how often would it have to happen?
Every hurricane.
That'd be good.
There's an awful.
Plus, hell, in a couple of years will be another hurricane, you know.
At Chubb out there, they picked up the boats. The guy has several trips back and forth to Ralph Lake. Any place where they see him, he's got business.
Holy shit.
The only thing he won't do is run the boat. And
After he paid to get you down there, he didn't want to use you.
I was there to babysit, and I did for 2 weeks.
He really seems irrational. It's kind of crazy.
He is. So Ralph went to sleep after a while, and I was driving the boat along down into the Keys and around all the lights and stuff. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, he woke up and said, well, I guess you better stop and sleep. And I've been drinking cola and stuff to stay awake, and I'm not tired. There's no reason to argue with the guy. I mean, it's not even worth doing. So I said, oh, okay. And he says, well, where should we find some shallow water to anchor in? I said, just head for the light. We're headed for the light now. You just go inside of it, and the water's about 6 feet deep. It's great. It's perfect. And it's sandy bottom. So, and we're going along the Keys where they're turning, so we're going kind of southwest there. So we headed northwest, back kind of the way we came from, straight for land. And I said, well, in a couple miles you'll find some shallow enough water to anchor in. It's kind of not really on the course.
You turned around?
Well, we're following the Keys, which run off of
Like
Florida
this, yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
We're down here, we're going along like this, and you had to go a little bit more, and you would have come to a nice shallow spot. We came back this way because it's like directly to land, it looked closer to him. And he was tired, he wasn't making a lot of sense, I guess. I said, now, which anchor do you want to use? Because he's driving the boat. He said, use the blue one, which is mine. I own the anchor. He's been holding it for me for a couple of years because I couldn't transport it back here. And I said, now, should we put it on the big anchor rope? He said, no, just use the yellow one. Which the yellow one's an old piece of shit on the front. This polypropylene that the sun eats up. And I said, okay. And it's like, now I knew my anchor was going to get lost. So I went up there and I got on the bow and he said, okay, drop it here. And I said, okay, just stop the boat. And I waited until the boat stopped going back up. And I said, the wind was behind us and it was going to swing us around. And that was fine. So the boat it was starting to swing around. And I put the anchor down, tied her on, and it felt snug and everything was fine. Time to go to bed. He said, you better let out some more rope. Well, I hadn't let it out because the rope was no good. It was really garbage up toward the end. And so I said, okay. And I told him pull up and loosen off on the rope. And he did. Went to the wind so there'd be some slack so I could work the rope. And but I let out some rope. And the son bitch put the boat in reverse hard. And there's only 20 feet of rope to fool with. It's in reverse, and I haven't got time to tie it off.
Your anger's
And so this cleat thing right here was lost hope, and the only thing left was a chalk up front. So there's a loop on the end of the rope, and I got it around the chalk, and it went twang. The rope and the anchor went, and I pulled back the 3 or 4 feet of rope that was left, and it was broken out there. And, he said, "What happened?" I said, "Your rope broke, Ralph." He had a hard enough reverse, so it would have broken most ropes. It's just, I didn't have it cleated off when he threw the thing in reverse and pushed down on it. So he knew I was pissed off then.
How did he
Because that was
suspect
my
that?
anchor.
That was a big anchor too.
It was a nice anchor. I fixed it. It was broken when I got it, and I fixed it. So I helped him deploy the other anchor. He had two anchors. We used a good rope for his anchor. And he backed off on that. And I wasn't in the house on the boat. I wasn't even watching it anymore. I helped him get it overboard, but I wasn't going to help him set it or anything. And he finally came back in the house there and said, you're all upset about your anchor. I said, I didn't say anything. He said, well, just take the white one, which is the one we were using at that time, because mine was gone. So then he went up to sleep, and it took me a while to calm down. I could have driven the boat to Marathon with no trouble because I was wide awake. Pissed though.
Yeah, and real
But it was decent of him to tell me I could have the white anchor. We got to Marathon, and we got a ride. His girlfriend gave us a ride home. We got his Volkswagen thing started by pushing it. Because the battery was dead. And he got me to the airport, and we checked, and there was an airplane that will leave in about an hour or so, and I got on it. And, well, before I got on it, I told Ralph to take care of my anchor for me. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. He wanted me to forget that he said that he'd give me the white anchor. Since I didn't say anything that night, he figured he could skate on it, and pretty soon it'd be his again. But I made it clear that I wanted the anchor at that time, and I left. And he said, now, don't tell stories about how bad I am up there. Don't make me out worse than I am. Because the guy knows he's an asshole. And he knows what I'm going to tell people, which is just the truth. And everybody down there knows he's an asshole. And I don't know.
Where did he get the money to buy this boat?
God.
Oh,
He got money.
He'd been lucky buying and selling a few boats. He's a cheap son of a bitch. He'll buy them right. Of course, he ends up with a piece of shit. And he has to find a real fool to buy them. And he has. He's been lucky.
He's found real fools to buy it.
This time, he's stuck with this one.
Well, how much is this boat
But he can
worth?
make money with it, it seems like.
There were people interested in buying the boat. Ralph was asking $150 for it. And on the way out there, he got fed up with the whole business and said, I just sell it for what I get it. About $135, he says he had in the boat. So we got out to the Bahamas, and one of the local contractors expressed an interest in the boat. One of the guys that hired us is a boat broker. And this guy knew him, and they were talking. And the guy said, "You going to sell your boat, Ralph?" Oh yeah. And it turns out Ralph will take $200,000 for it now because somebody's interested in it. From $135 to $200,000 in 10 minutes. And that's just the way he is. It's like my reality. You couldn't feel it.
Does he owe money on this boat, or is it?
I can't believe the guy is dead yet.
George says he had the beautiful house and big bucks.
His girlfriend is
Yeah,
a
there's
beautiful
lots
house.
floating
Has
out
money.
there.
Apparently he's a pet of some sort. He doesn't even have a credit card.
How the hell can she stand him?
I don't know.
He's out at sea a lot.
No, he's not. He's in the marina a lot, taking over this boat.
She gets a little rest while
years
George
getting this
is
boat
there.
ready to use. And the autopilot doesn't work, and the compasses don't work, and he doesn't know how to... We spent 5 days in Fort Lauderdale, and he hadn't put one coordinate into his GPS to take the trip to the Bahamas. He hadn't looked at his chart. He had no idea where we're going. The guys couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Maybe not the first day, but 5 days with nothing to do.
Maybe you should buy his boat.
No, I shouldn't. Further, I stay away from the happy all day. It was just, the whole thing, the little instances were just amazing.
Mechanics lean on it.
He doesn't owe me any money. If he owed me money, no, it wouldn't be good.
Just owes you an anchor.
If I ever go down there, I'll pick up your anchor for you. I'll get my anchor.
Can you find the
If I ever go
anchor?
down to someone else's boat. It's easy to
Oh,
get.
you can find the white anchor, but you can't find the other
It
one.
doesn't matter. I don't need it. I couldn't carry it anyway, but it's just a principle thing. It's just because there wasn't one good line on the boat. Everything was tattered stuff you could find in a dumpster at a boat yard. And there wasn't one good electric cord on the boat. Everything was taped together. It didn't have shore power cords. It's like this thing where I had to wire pieces of this and that together to get to the shore thing and poke wires in and tape them to the thing to have electricity whenever we got someplace. Nothing
Every
was
time I ask
right on
George
this
a question, he says, wait till I tell everybody all at once.
I think it made it over there and back again.
And to steer, it's going along, and in order to turn the boat, and it's not just slow response. The fact is that there are 2 full turns of the steering wheel before it responds. then it responds fine. It responds real well. But it's like if your car's a little bit of free play, imagine turning it 2 full times before it does anything. And once the boat starts to turn, because it doesn't have a keel or anything, it just wants to skid like a car on ice. So we spent the whole trip doing this, the whole way to and from the Bahamas. And Alicia stayed right on it and flipped it hard, fast back. Couldn't hold it straight. And Ralph was bad. And he said, well, now, you know, it works. Well, it
Did
works.
he let you
the
steer?
way I drove at least half the time. After a while, yeah, the linkage would sort of get centered on whatever looseness there was and might come back, but it was just incredible. Our path was incredible. If we went 100 miles someplace, we went 130 miles with the boat.
Didn't get hit by any torpedoes, though, by God.
Just amazing.
You find out what was loose, so you could have taken
Yeah, I went down in the steering room, and it's all pins. The gearbox was okay, but all the pins are a little bit loose. And the way it works is like the gearbox thing moves something that's like this, and this thing moves something that's like that, and all the pins are a little bit loose. And it's a cumulative error, the looseness thing. And there's nothing you can do out there unless you put big springs to keep it off to one side, which because there's no springs, there's nothing on the boat. It doesn't have a nut or a bolt on the boat. It doesn't have any extra lines or fuel lines or hoses or pipe fittings.
But that's just tells by tricks on them.
Your friend Bargain Joe's dead.
Which one?
Marlon Joe.
Is it the guy who said he's going to break my legs when I went in there and told him I got to give me the money?
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
How'd he die? Someone kill him?
No, I think he probably had a heart attack.
You can't collect.
He was an ass.
I collected.
Sue the estate.
He paid.
Okay, we're going to say good night to everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right, happy birthday.
Good night, happy birthday, and it was delicious.
Yeah,
That time, you know, we went down to his Ralph Landcraft, and he said, you can work for a day. And I was like,
Say goodbye,
I can't
Ed.
work for that asshole.
Hi, George. I'm glad you made it home. This is Ralph. Just thought I'd check with you. If you ever decide to come back, there's plenty to do. So, if you feel like letting me know your intentions, or if you have any, let me know. If not, I'll understand. Thank you. Bye. Tuesday, 8:36 p.m.
Filming now. I just feel like Wayne's World. Okay, it's...
The guys that hired Ralph, there's 2 partners that own a house in the Bahamas. They weren't.
Okay, we're going to see how well this camera takes pictures at night. Whoops. People. What snow looks like. The snowblower just died, I think. Let's see. Walk this way. 11:03 a.m. the morning after the night before. And we should have more snow. George is out there snow blowing somewhere. This is the worst storm we've had in years. And I need my little Alyeska parka. But don't worry, it's being shipped to me. And I might have it in March. Maybe in another 5 years when we have another blizzard, I can use it. So George is blowing the driveway. We blew it last night, as you saw a minute ago. He's out there somewhere. We started working really hard at the end of the driveway. Someone's got to do those pallets. Little drips going up to the backyard. Whoa, cold. Windy. I don't know if you can see up in there. See it blowing off over there? Well, you can voice. You don't have to talk. You don't have to be on it. Just do the voiceover. Well, Louise can. Hello. Oh, and my Holly. Well, that's good.
This is a good friend of mine makes this. And it's no salt.
Oh, really?
There's no salt in it. Yeah, it's.
Well, I always think
Smoke
of
salmon at the bed and
always
breakfast
think of-
place wasn't cooked. It wasn't smoked far enough. It was still.
No, it was lox, like lox.
It was even more raw than that.
Oh.
Well,
Squaw candy.
isn't lox salty?
This is real good.
I mean,
Did you try this?
I lived in the.
Let's have to get something on videotape.
Salmon. I think it's the kind we had.
What,
strong.
This is true.
Yeah, this is completely different. This is real smoked salmon. This was a fish that was put in a smoker and smoked.
Pretty exciting.
Caribou sausage without casing and meatballs grabbing later.
Oh yeah, we have caribou sausage.
Where's the caribou?
The caribou sausage we had up there was excellent.
Before you eat it.
That would have fit in with this dinner.
How long did you put those in? We can
For
walk.
15 minutes, the beeper should go off.
They had eel and everything.
Marilyn, wasn't that restaurant we went to in Seward? Didn't we have some
We go to
caribou?
Seward.
We didn't. Homer.
Those are just little chunks of caribou meat. It's like stew meat.
Excuse me.
Other thing.
I want this recipe. Sold their house, just closed on it.
I'll give it to you.
You did?
Well, I just got a Christmas card from my friends who live in California.
Well,
how do you-
California in the winter.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm invited there.
Take a knife and I just,
Right, I remember you told me.
ran around the edge and then I took a spoon. It comes out with a spoon too. But you kind of dig at it. But
Before the
What, you didn't want another drink?
It's just almost impassable. Salad, she said you put in some veal, it makes the chicken go up.
I remember.
Very cheap, man. We ate a lot of
I remember reading about that. No, seriously.
In a history book.
You remember reading about that?
No, wait a minute, he's older than you
No,
are.
my mother said that, chicken is pretty expensive stuff, and veal or pork added to it was.
Chicken was expensive?
When I was a little girl, chicken. Well, you remember, you read in the history book about Hooper saying chicken in every pot or something like that.
Oh, that because that was.
So when did that happen? Because now chicken is among the
Yeah, I didn't know that. Why was chicken so expensive?
I don't
It
know.
took a long time to grow. With all the drugs.
We'll miss the top of his head this way.
Before they threw them in
Right.
my brother had a what was it, the egg farm, and he had chickens in little cartlets, and then he moved around and the eggs rolled out.
Yeah, possibly because they were labor intensive.
Yeah, before they
began agribusiness.
Frank Purdue came into the... George and Ellen were babies.
Ah! No focus.
My husband bought 100 baby chicks, and I brought them home. And put them in the upstairs bathroom. And his mother died and he left. And I had the baby chicks. And finally I got them outside in the chicken house, and I couldn't get the heater to work. And I spent the night running back and forth between George and Ellen and the baby chickens.
Oh, God. What does your bathroom look like after 100?
I wasn't well, the bathroom got cleaned up afterwards. It was better
camera.
after I cleaned it up.
Just one baby chick can make a mess.
But Daddy called up and
Anything
said,
fuzzy, it won't focus on.
I said, well, you know, are you coming home? Well, he said, I'm down here in Clarksburg, and I thought as long as I was here, I might spend a week or two visiting my friends. And I hadn't even
Let's
been
blur
back.
away on these heads. Blur.
It was April. The chickens were freezing, and my kids were in the house.
Look at this spellbound audience. Wow, yeah, well, spellbound, they're kind of blurry.
And so when the chickens got big, they said, they'd like to buy some chickens from me. And they said,
George, we wanted to have the cut in bones so we could chew on the bone. I mean, how many people eat steak with bones in it? I mean, I don't remember, but it was
my mother always
That's what we've already got in a Christmas tree, and
she sent me up to get a quarter's worth of ground.
Put that
Right here. These look like little salmon steaks.
I wouldn't send them, they'd get broken.
Randy's mother's not doing well at all. They're on the phone a lot. They just said they wouldn't be good company.
Oh, Randy's mom's really bad?
Yeah.
She just gets
Yeah, she's.
all you do is say thank you.
She lives
I said,
in
well,
Glastonbury.
if I had
No,
to
Randy's
I
mom.
feel that I had to
Same
stay.
No, actually.
Randy's here?
No.
Randy's here?
He's been going back and forth.
But is he here right now?
Yeah. Here, have a bite of them. Those are delicious, Jim.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, he's here right now.
Those are good.
But they're gonna go Christmas Day out there.
Did you kill the crab yourself?
Very good.
And I'll leave this over to pound the past.
this is before Marilyn's
What
diet.
does she have cancer of?
So, eggnog?
But she's been
More crabs.
She's been sick for a long time, hasn't she?
More crabs. Have one.
Okay, I'll have one.
Is that mine or yours?
I'll have one.
With you.
I got mine.
Yeah.
I know, well, you can hardly taste it.
Oh wait, or the one.
Well, no, I like scallops. All right, we're empty, Marilyn.
I know you have smaller glasses,
Affection.
but whoever.
Is that it? Is that it?
always give me a drinking glass like this.
Uh-oh.
Were there more of these?
Ellen got that glass.
I have learned to drink out of them, but it gets all over my face. I can't.
Get the shotgun.
Immediately.
Would you like a straw?
No, thank you.
I don't know, you want a glass like this thickness?
No, I want one of those little ones with the thin top. No, that thickness, yes, but. Oh, it's too thin?
Like, too wide.
I will pour your drink in the glass.
Yeah, safer.
Are there more of those crab here?
Yeah, in the oven.
Yeah, what is this, Pete? No Alaskan king crab either? Or what is Where are those crab legs
We
we
went
have?
to Alaska and I looked for Alaskan king crab and nobody showed me any.
Really? They didn't have, that's probably one
They
of
all
those things.
they export it all, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, where's the plate?
From Red Lobster.
I don't even see
It's
it.
like eat a basketball star.
The chart house used to give us
Football star.
nice fillet
Yeah.
with Alaskan king crab
Oh,
legs years ago.
The chart house. Where we ate was a pump house. That was in Alaska.
It's a restaurant.
Yes.
It's the dynamics that are important.
What a good baby. Oh, yeah. We took Lucy.
Oh.
It was a family vacation.
Talk about happy people. We'll get to see somebody actually arrive at this party here in just a moment.
I was going to say that.
Watch the surprising, excited look on their faces as they drive in and walk in.
She could have gone free.
You know what? What the hell is this?
Yeah, don't go out and smoke.
I always, when I tell Marilyn these stories, like, you know, and use them to replace that.
The farms? Who's that?
We had, believe me, we had this conversation. And you asked!
Oh, did you ask? Did
She asked! She probably asked because we were all whispering after the water. And at 20 to 10, he said, okay, 45. All I know is she really never talked about it. That's what I said. I never knew. That's all I said to Linda, too. You guys went crazy. Oh, no, I know, but damn. We can erase that. She's stirring up as much trouble as I did. That is more fun talking about stirring up. She did.
Oh, sorry about the ceiling people.
And you're honest. You're off the hook. Now, 45 minutes from 25 after is he's going to have frostbite before he
In fact, he may have already gone over the rail.
It was 20 minutes to 10. We're not going to come in here. When we said 45 minutes, it was 20 minutes to 10. We said, it was a see how many times you was back here. Okay? I know yours Christmas party came back. And let yours come back now. We're now half an hour. All right, George, that's enough. I was separated from him for a year and a half. She said to me, I don't even know what his relationship is with this woman. And so I said, oh, you don't? Well, let me tell you.
You told she didn't have any idea why they were coming to the party.
Heard the half of it, yeah.
She was coming here to the party.
Marilyn told her.
Now turn it off.
Oh, God, you have more balls in
I
there.
want to hear it. You have to turn it off. Come on. Find the switch. Come on now.
The red light's off.
No, it's not.
No, I won't pass on that right
You
next
don't
to
like smoked salmon.
I love smoked salmon, but I don't mix
You
one
can't
with
mix
the other.
animals.
I need if I'm